Okay, and welcome back to episode 4 of season 1 of the EasyJet flights. And today we're going to be going from Gatwick to Palma de Majorca. So let's go ahead and get the cockpit preparations performed. Let's do that then. We bring battery 1 and battery 2 online, and we accept the external power. After the external power, we're going to do the APU fire test. And while we're up here, we're going to do engine 1 and engine 2 fire tests. We're also going to switch to standby nav on, and we're going to align our ADIRS, which is the aircraft addressing and recording system. But all three are done, and we're going to go down the panel, put our crew supply off, because the Airbus has a dark cockpit concept, so all lights that are on should be off. We'll leave the fuel pumps for now though, with the exception. Blue is standby, which is good for external power. Packs are to low, because that's what COVID requires. We're going to do the integral lighted, bring that up. We're also going to test our awarded LED lamps, make sure there's nothing out there. Across all the panels, the MCP down onto the pedestal, and that is all good and correct. We'll leave that on to bright for warning indication. We're now going to put our seat belts, our emergency exits, and we're going to put our strobes to auto, and our nav lights to 2. So we want nav and logo on. Even though it's daytime, we still have them on. We'll leave passenger sides off, because we're going to be refueling the aircraft, so we don't want passenger sides on. But I'm just going to adjust the panel lighting now for everything I want. So I want the integras up here, and I want the panel integras on. And while we're down on the pedestal, I'm going to flip the radio shacks on, put predicted wind shear on, and put a standby TCAS in. Oops. That's 2000. Okay, we want to select our FMGC status on both FMGSs, and we're going to go ahead now and do the glide slope warning test. Slope. We're going to check the indications are correct.
Up. Terrain. Pull up.
We're now going to perform the oxygen tests. Now we could go ahead, and the first officer could perform his oxygen tests. So I'll just go over to the first officer, and he can perform his oxygen test, which is correct. Okay, let's go back to our main cockpit. And our QNH at the minute in Gatwick is 1026, so we'll just change that. The actual weather is pretty good. There's a slight wind at 9 knots at 60 degrees. Visibility is at 5,000. There's a broken cloud 6,000. Temperature's 8 degrees. And that's we'll take the anti-skid off, ready for pushback. We don't need it while we're parked. Okay, so that's now set. Okay, so now we're going to go and prepare the fuel for the aircraft. So we're going to fuel the aircraft up. 9.4 tons of fuel. We're taking 162 souls at 2.9 cargo. Gives us 0 fuel weight at 60.5. We estimated 60.3, so it's quite accurate. Now we've got the fuel in loaded, we could go ahead and do our preparations on the FMGC, and we're going to perform the initialization page. So our initial reference page here, we're going to put our company route in of Gatwick, which is Echo Golf Kilo Kilo, to Palma de Majorca, which is Lima Echo Papa Alpha, and 01 for the pre-selected company routes. While that's getting, that'll fill in the route that we've requested. Our flight number, of course, is EZY for EasyJet, so Echo Zulu Yankee, and the flight number today is hold on, my apologies. Flight number today is 8631. So 8631. Cost index is 15. We've calculated a cruise level of 370, so flight level 37,000 feet. We'll now initialize the IRS position. We check the aircraft position in blue, across the latitude position in green, and we align on the reference on both, and we confirm the alignment. We then can return to the fuel prediction page. So we know our block fuel is 9.4 tons. Put that in there. And the zero fuel weight today is correct. However, the CNG is not 26. CNG calculated is 36.7, which is a trim of down 1.2. So 36.7 in there. Then go to our performance page. Like I said, we will change a few things on here. First of all, our acceleration altitude will be at minimums. And we're going to go flaps 1, but we are going down, I believe it's 1.2 on the trim. Select that up, that gives our V speeds. Quite high V speeds today, flaps 1, so that's good. And that is this page done. So now we could go ahead and load the passengers. So let's call up GSX. And we request boarding, so number 4 please. And we want EasyJet, yes, thank you. Just wait for the default, yes please, we'll have default jetway, we can confirm the selection. Okay, so our boarded passengers now, we'll have a look at the flight plan. So within this flight plan here, plus 5,000, excellent. And we're just going to scroll through. And this one here. So let's be at plus 6,000 because we're not an ATC. We're flying offline, so we can go ahead and select again. Let's take the constraints out. You can also do this using the altitude selector and right click for open climb. We like to do it there. So we'll scroll through. The weather could change en route for 2-4, so I'm not going to put that actual arrival in just yet. But I know we're coming on the Laws 1 kilo, and Pasinia, that's the VOR. So Laws, we want to be at flight level 7,000. And actually here I want to be at an altitude of 4,500. So I'll put that in there as well. I know that because I have the charts by me, so that should calculate the descent nicely. Yeah, okay, it's not going to be able to do it, but okay. So we're coming from the Laws 1 kilo, and that's down by Pasiba, as it says there. And we just need to be above flight level 7,000 till we get to Palencia VOR. That's Papa Oscar Sierra, you can see on the screen. And the start of the approach with 24 left is actually 4,500 feet, which I've put in here. So that's fine. We've got a flight plan discontinuity, which is correct, but we'll put this arrival in nearer the time. So at the minute now, we are fully set up and ready to go. So at this point, we can keep an eye on our load of fuel. I can lock the cockpit door now. So and what we can do is we're going to do the before start checks in a little while. We'll just wait for the passengers to board and our load of fuel to be done. So in the meantime, we'll get back to you later.
Hello.
Okay guys, welcome back, and as you can see our boarding is now completed. We have 162 souls on board. We have 2.9 tonnes of cargo and our requested 9.4 tonnes of fuel. So we'll go back to aircraft doors. We're now going to close our cargo doors, and we're going to now prepare for the rest of the before start checklist. So still a little bit of the prelim checklist to go. So we're going to go up here. This time we're going to place our beacon lights on, and we're going to open up our AP flap. So AP flap, when it comes indicated open here, we'll be able to go ahead and start the APU. This is a little inlet flap, there you go. It's open now, so we can go back up to the panel and press start on the APU. So the APU can now start up. And when the APU is started, we will then get rid of the ground crew from the aircraft, and we will dismiss the jetway, which is still connected. We'll check our load sheet is correct with what we've got on board. So zero fuel weight, yeah, just under 60.5 tonnes, so 60,488 kilograms. We'll have passenger weight of 84, so we've got 162 souls on board with 2.9 tonnes of cargo, which is correct, which is what we loaded, and it is correct. So the APU is now available, so what we could do is go ahead and start the APU bleed. Makes it a little bit more comfortable for the passengers on board. And you can hear that kick in even with the packs on low. And now that's kicked in, we could go ahead and we could close the front door. The aircraft crew can now leave the airport. So what we're going to do is dismiss the external power off our aircraft here, but first of all we're going to place all our fuel pumps on position, and we're going to remove the external power. We're going to check through the panel left to right. So DEARS, the aircraft addressing the reporting system, is correct. Flight controls is correct. EVAC's correct. Emergency electrical power is correct. Our GPWS, our ground proximity warning system, so the terrain, the system, the glide slope, the flap mode and log landing flaps are correct. Flight recorder, we can test. That's correct. Our oxygen, our calls, wipers are off, engine fire guards are all down, hydraulic system is normal, fuel system is normal, electronic system is normal, generators are in fault because engines aren't running. Air conditioning panel is normal with a bleed on standby and is correct. Our anti-ice is in auto, our pressurization panel is in auto, and all our lights down here are all correct for what we want. Standby data com 3 is correct. Our flight control systems are correct at the mimic from over this side. The cabin's cargo smoke system is correct. So we are good. We can now prepare for pushback and departure, but before we do that, we'll get rid of all ground equipment associated with the crew. So we can get rid of chocks because we've got our brakes on, and we'll get rid of the power units. And now we will request pushback with GSX. So prepare for pushback and departure. The little tug will come in. Here he comes up. The gateway jetway is placed in a park position, and we'll be pushing nose left. And we can just go through our checklist as well, just to make sure everything is correct. So our engine master switches are off, ignition selector is to normal, weather radar is off, landing gear is down, both wiper selectors are off, battery is checked and is in auto position, external power is now disconnected, APU is running. Air conditioning is on low for COVID, cockpit lights is as required. Our ECAM status is correct. Oil quantity, fuel quality is checked. Flaps are retracted. Speed brake lever is retracted. Parking brake is on. Brake pressure is correct. QNH is 1026. Correct. Security search has been done. Emergency equipment is on board. Rainbow panels is checked. RCB panels are all correct. Gear pins, found and counting flags are checked. Aircraft firing is in date. Cockpit before start. Cockpit preparation is completed. Signs are all on and auto. ADIRs are on now. Fuel quantity is 9.4 tons on board. FMGS is set and altimeters are 1026. Windows and doors are all closed. Beacon is on. Mobile phones are off both. Parking brake is on. So before step checklist is complete. Anti-skid is off. Let's go ahead then and release parking brakes for pushback.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Started well.
Okay, we're going to be starting 2 then 1 in sequence. Ignition selector is now to ignition start, and number 2 fuel control lever in. We're now spooling up the engines and getting ready to go to sunny Palma de Majorca. As you know from my previous videos, I'm using the Airbus TCA First Officer pack, so I've got the engine 1 and 2 throttle quadrant, and I've got the side stick also. Weather is beautiful today, even out of my window.
Set parking brakes.
Parking brake is set.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
Engine 2 is stable, starting 1. Push back. Off blocks time. I'll wait for engine number 1 to roll up then. In this series we've got one more episode to go of EasyJet, and then we're moving on to another airline. If you comment on the right airline, that'll be quite amazing. Okay, so number 1 is now available as dictated by the MFD, so we can tell GSX we have 2 good engine starts, thank you, and they could disconnect while we do the rest of the preparation. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set our auto brakes to maximum up here. Make sure your ground anti-skid is back to off. Ignition selector we can place back to normal. Our engine page will leave for now. We'll just flick through the status. Status page is correct. Then we'll go up. We'll just make sure now we will disconnect the APU, and we'll turn off the APU bleed as the aircraft packs 1 and 2 now supply the aircraft. Taxi light can go on, and we'll put the runway turn off lights on when we leave the terminal. Then I have to do a few checks down here, so what we'll do now is we'll place flaps to 1, and we'll arm the speed brake to ground spoilers, and we can do our flight control checks. So flight control checks was down 1.2 on the trim. See if we can do it on my trim buttons. No, just fine tune that then to 1.2 down. There's 1.2 down, and then we could do a flight control check. So keep an eye on our display. Full left, full right,
left is clear. Right is clear.
Neutral, full up, and full down, and neutral. We could do our rudder check left, and rudder check right, and neutral. So our flight controls are free and correct. We could extinguish that page, and we could also do our takeoff config test, which is normal. So with that all done, get my position to taxi, and we're going to be taxiing the aircraft today via Juliet. So the minute we're in Juliet, we have to go slightly left, so across here, across the terminal, and reconnect with Juliet, as I've already got the free scenery airport. So Navigraph shows that we could go on Juliet all the way down straight, but we'll have to slightly go left and right back onto Juliet, and then we'll go to Juliet's holding point, hold short of 8 right, and we'll do our before takeoff checklist. So enjoy the taxi, and I'll see you back here in a little while. Okay, so you're now joining us as we prepare for takeoff. We've got the landing lights on, and just getting the aircraft into position. Be given permission to get on the runway, so let's go ahead. Turn off taxi lights can go on. Actually, wing lights can go on also. I'm just going to get the aircraft into position.
Approaching 08 right. On runway 08 right.
Okay, so we're now lined up on the runway. I'm just going to double check. On the right view for... bear with me, there we go. Okay, so we're now on runway. We're going to start our timer. Start the timer, all the throttles are set, take it to 50% thrust. Release brakes. Speed alive. Runway. Bandflex SRS. $80 knots. $140. V1. Rotate. V2. Oh, that's a heavy. Positive rate. Back on head runway track. Gear up. Just gonna get back on runway track then. I'm going to select autopilot 1 as I'm on my own, and we're going to do a little bit of a clean up now. Let's set the runway, turn off lights off, and the taxi lights to take off back to off position. Go Come on onto the climb. It's pretty foggy. Leave us to climb. Leave us a place into the climb mode. We get rid of ground spoilers. Ground spoilers have retracted correctly. Weather radar can come on. Increasing our thrust altitude now. As soon as we get to the flap speed indicator, we can take our flaps to 1. So we're looking for that. Okay, flaps up. Speed check, flaps up. That's it. Very hazy because of the sun. And low level clouds you can see through the window there, you could just make out the ground. So this is pretty straight out SID on the SFD, it's the Sierra Foxtrot Delta Zulu 4 Zulu SID. As we can see from the SID, it was we left the airport at 77 degrees for about 4 miles, and then we did a right turn 68 degrees to 163, and now we're going out to Sierra Foxtrot Delta, which is Seaford VOR, right on the coast. Just waiting for transition level. Going into a nice climb now, and we can take the barrows to standard, and we're at standard 6.2 now, cross-checked. Range out again on the NFD. There's Seaford VOR. Now that actually is the edge of the UK, if you can see that. It's the edge of the UK there, and then we go across the UK. All across France, down over France, through then Spain to Palma de Majorca. So it's an easy flight, an easy route today. We'll take that off for weather now. And all we've got to do now is our 10,000 checks. Once we do our 10,000 checks, we'll leave you, and you'll join us back on the descent for the star of the Loris 1 Kilo into Palma de Majorca. Okay, 10,000 is correct. So now we can take our landing lights off, and we can check our overhead panel for 10,000 checks. Happy with the 10,000 checks. I'm happy with the climb and the weather, so actually I'm going to release the passengers now also. The seatbelt signs can come off. Whatever panels are correct, with the radar is on, tilt below and above. Our TCAS is on, our road climb mode on the FMGS. So we're all good, and we'll see you back here very soon. We're going to make sure our arrival now is 24 Lima. So if we go up, ILS 24 left, and we're going to go Yankee. That's fine, and we're going to go via the Pasenda VOR, so POS, and we're going to insert that into the FMGS. I'll scroll through. There should be no discontinuities now. As you can see, there is none. I've already selected what we wanted anyway. We're going to go to next phase of flight on the FMGS on my side. So QNH was 1026. Temperature is 16 degrees. It's on my other screen that you can't see. And the wind is 230 degrees and 13 knots. And the minimums for Palma de Majorca, I'll just bring up the approach plates. Zulu Yankee. Minimums today, Cat 2, ILS, decision heights, 119, so we'll put in 120 on the radio. So we can do that, 120 on the radio. Config 3, well, looking at the approach speed over, but let's just round that up to 140, it's at 139, just 140 is easier to manage. Okay, so that's the approach phase selected, the descent phase looks okay. And now we can have a look back up into the aircraft itself. So about 20 miles off, and that's where I really want to start the descent. So I'm going to select the new altitude on the MCDU to 7,000 feet. And we're going to descend at initially 1,800 feet per minute. I want to be between Loras there. That's fine. And we're just heading over the Pyrenees mountain way, so actually let's go up a little bit. I don't want to be... Okay, looking at the star that SimBrief gave us the Loras 1 kilo. However, that's only usable between 1100 and 2300 and 0700 local time, so coming on the Loras 1 Popper, it's much the same. Same altitude, so we're aiming for 7,000. Pasiba, that's fine, I'll keep 7,000 there. That's absolutely fine, and that's what I want to do. It's just a weather injector. I'll just recheck, make sure we got the correct. Yep, so everything's still the same on the weather from my side. So our descend is, we can get rid of our trays now. As you can see, I've selected 7,000. I don't want to be. I want to be on a continual descent. So actually, I could put that up and again. So I'm just the other side of Pasiba there, because actually I want to be at 5,000 at Posenia VOR, Polienza VOR. My apologies. That's as long as that. Then I can put the constraints back on my side. A little bit of weather, but I think that's picking up the mountain race. We'll just turn that down a little bit. And that is it. We're all set for the I've auto braked low, and we're all set for the descent. So the other things I will do now is I will be selecting ground spoilers armed near the approach, and our 24,000 feet I'll be putting the electronic devices 2 on, and seatbelt signs will go on roughly around 18,000 feet depending on the weather. If the weather changes, then it will be going on before. So we'll just initiate that. Barometric reference, well, we've got the reference, that's fine. 1026, and it's set and checked. Only lights on at 10,000. Okay. So we're all good now for the descent, and we'll see you on the approach. And Batham is roughly 18 miles from the runway, so we'll start slowing down the aircraft then. There's no restrictions on speed, we're not on ATC. But at Batham we will reduce to 200 knots and have flaps 1 open. So we've been on block now for 1 hour and 51 minutes, and we've been in the air for 98 minutes. It's been a quite uneventful flight up until now. A little bit of shock over the cloud layers, but that's to be expected on the approach. Whilst landing in Palma de Majorca, we're hoping to get stands, a stand from 60 through to 82, so we'll see we're going to put the barrow on now. QNH was correct anyway from before, so we don't need to change anything there. We do need to change the standby, so default it goes to 30, so we'll change that to 26 also. So, barrow set 3 times 1026, passing 7,440 feet now. Just bring in another level there. You can see we're coming into I can't ever pronounce it right, Palencia VOR, and there's the Palma Majorca in the forefront of the view, and we're under 24 left, so basically we're going in like this, landing on the runway, be over here. So I'm happy with all the constraints and my altitudes. I've got my plates. I'm going to take them off to clear up my clutter off my screen, and then we're going to come in another 20 on the range. That'll be my final range now for a little while. So like I said, Palencia, reduce the altitude down to 4,500 and ready to go. Don't forget to do with our underground spoilers. The only other thing to do after landing is we'll turn the weather radar off. Our TARA on TCAS is auto, so it will automatically go to TA only. Auto brakes low is set, and the landing lights are on, and everything else is on, so we're good up there. AAP will go on after landing. So roughly about well, we've got the runway in sight. We'll drop the landing gear and go flaps full. That's the only other change really on the approach. Once the aircraft's stable though, we will go manual flight to land. We're going to cross OK at 5,000 feet, so we're going to continue down to 4,500 as directed. This time we're going to go right up. Want that closer. So we're turning. As we come in, we line up the aircraft straight, and then we take a right turn, and the runway is over on the island. I'm just going to slow down the aircraft to about 220 knots now. I've made that turn. Can activate the approach phase, so the aircraft knows what we're doing. So our next constraint from Bavum, so when we leave Bavum we will go down to 2,500 feet on open descent, but we will, as soon as we hit 4,500 feet we're going to reduce to flaps 1 speed. So that's our green dot speed here on the PFD, which is our primary flight display. Let's just get that over here. So we're good to green dot speed and put the flaps out to 1. There we are, 4,500 feet, so flaps to 1. And let's reduce to flaps 1 speed now. I'll reduce straight to 190, I believe it is, and that'll do us. We also want to go down to 2,500 feet, but not until we pass Babham. It does say on the approach chart between Babham and Obmu we can be at 2,500, so I can start to descend right there, so that's happy days. That's what we're going to do. We'll do an open descent. And we'll also go flaps 2 at this point. And reduce the aircraft to 180 knots. Just so we keep within a good envelope, within the speed, overspeed and stall rate for the flaps. You can actually operate flaps 2 at 200 and flaps 3 at 185. And full flaps can actually go at 177, so I keep around 180 until we're around 5. Okay. Open descent then to 2,500 feet, and we'll range in now. And it's roughly 7 miles to our next waypoint from Babham, and then from there we've got 7.5 miles to the start of the glide. So I'm just going to check something quickly, because for some reason, I'll just go to the map. Can't see the too far left. Too far left is 109.3. Yeah, yeah, okay. A little bit of a jump there. So we'll just check. 109.3 is signified, so we'll get the ILS further soon.
2,500.
There we go. So DME's come up 16 miles out, and we are on the lock intercept. So with that heading bug there, so this is our ILS feather, our left and right direction. With that bang on, we'll select straight to approach mode when we're stable, and we start seeing the glide come down. So the glide doesn't start to 7.5 miles from the runway. So 180 is a good speed. Gear down can go at any time. You can see the airport in the distance. Let's reduce to 177 knots, as that is the full flap limitation. I'm going to go flaps 3. Actually, let's bring it to 170. That's it. We'll probably be told anyway if you had ATC to remain on flaps 3. So I'm going to put the approach. I'm going to arm the approach now. Raw D on the localizer, so we're locked, and we're waiting for the glide bug to come down. And Palma de Majorca, it's quite a late glide bug, 7.5 miles, but it's all manageable. So we'll go through our finals checklist. Flaps 2, go around altitude will be selected soon. Everything's good so far. Okay, we have contact. Now contact means I can see the airport and runway, so if need be now I could go manual flight and do a VFR landing. So just to recap, we're on a 238 degree course inbound on the localizer at the minute. Glide slip is coming in now. If we have a misapproach, climb runway heading, and it's an immediate left turn after 1 mile, maximum 185 knots. onto 182 degrees, and then intercept the radial 212 from NDB, climb 3000, and after 15 miles we will climb to 4500 feet and direct to Cadbury VOR, where we'll hold 4500 for another approach. Okay, so the glide's coming in nicely. So we're locked onto pilot 2 on, aircraft manage speed, and we'll put the final stage of flaps out. At this stage also I'm going to pre-do the landing gear lights and taxi lights, because I'm going to be placing the gear down. We're at 10 knot headwind, so a bit bumpy. Okay, gear can do down. Missed approach altitude was 3000, so we're going to place that into the missed approach. We're ready to go. Landing memo down, gear down, no blue, we're ready for landing. And final approach. 5 miles, brake fan on. And at this stage we could ask GSX where we're going to park. So Palma de Majorca. And we could go to gate for facilities. Let's go next. I want 60 or 62 there, that's a good gate to go into.
1000.
Let's go 64. And who should we have? Yeah, let's go there. Okay, so that's going to load in now. Check 1000, thank you. And I'm ready. I think we're nice and stable. Coming in nicely here by the looks of it. Now I'm going to put my airport chart on. My iPad. Airport.
Approaching.
So we could aim to come off at Hotel 8. 24 left is correct. Slight cross there. Okay, I'm happy. Let's go manual flight, please.
500.
500. 2 white, 2 red. Speed's good.
400.
400. Thank you.
Three 300.
300.
100 above.
100. Thank you.
200.
200.
Minimum.
Continue.
100.
Landing.
$50, $40, $30, retard, 10, 5.
Reverse screen's in. That's 60 knots. And looks like we're going to come off at braking, auto braking is off. And we landed, and we had a landing feet there of 300 feet per minute, so not too bad. Come off at this first one then. And with that said, we can set the landing lights off. We can go, radar ground spoilers can go, and flaps can now come up. So S2, Sierra 2, yep. Okay, we're going to come to the end of here, and I'm just going to finish doing the aircraft stop. So, runway turn off lights could go off, strobe lights could go off, APU could go on, and also weather radar can go off, and TCAS can go off. So I am literally just going to slow the aircraft down in a minute, and I'm going to bring up my Pakistan charts. Pakistan, so we've just come off at S2. So S2 looks like we could go straight across here. Let's put a bit of thrust on the aircraft. Just make sure wind shear's off as well, don't need that on. We can go straight across, it's good and configured. And we selected, what was the gate? Gate 64, so straight across here, and then we'll literally go straight across to on mic, straight up then to, oh sorry, I turned that a bit far. Right, I can see the GSX tug there, so into here. And with that said, we're gonna, there's 62, so with that said I could take the taxi lights off also. And let's put the bleed on ready for shutdown. Wing lights could come off. Okay, excellent. There's 62. The 64 is the next one, as we can see there. And that'll be us then, departing in. This airport is from Orbex. Literally only a few quid. Don't think I've got a marshaller, so we're going to have to just do this by eyesight. Okay, that's okay. So what we're going to do is let it go level, and then we're going to start the turn in nice and slowly. That was terrible. I haven't got a marshaller, so we'll get the aircraft near enough level. I'll have a look outside. Anyone see a marshal? Have a look. I'm just gonna level up. The aircraft. I want an EZY278, so we could go on the we can go on the A321. That looks good to me. So we're on board now, so what we could do is set our parking brake. Our APU is running and is available, so let's go ahead and we can shut down our engines. Beacon light could go off and navs can go to 1. Seatbelt size can go off, parking lights can go off, and we can get rid of all our fuel pumps. And for now we can request deboarding. Request deboarding, please. Why can't the jetway operate? as that's being done. I don't get that, I really don't. Okay, let's go to ground services. Let's have the chocks on and the external power. We can now release the brakes. Happy days. Get rid of everything there. Brake fan can go off. And our IRS can go off. Cruise supply can go off. External power can come on. APU can go off. Nav lights can go off. All our lights now can go off. Emergency exits can go off. APU bleed can go off. Battery 1 and 2 can go off. Standbys can go off. And that is it. We have landed. And not a bad landing. And we're very happy with that. So welcome to Palma de Majorca. I'll try and figure out why the jetways are not operating at this airport. And we'll see you again very soon.